education. A luminary in the realms of diplomacy, literature, and politics, Dr. Tharoor's presence promises to elevate our intellectual discourse. Let us collectively engage in an enriching exchange of ideas as we embrace the privilege of hosting this erudite and multifaceted individual today.
Nilgiri College wholeheartedly welcoming you all, our dear students, invited guests, press, media. We warmly welcome you all. Our guests have arrived. He is receiving the guard of honor from our NCC cadets. requesting you all to stand up.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and academic community, it is with great pleasure that we gather to welcome Dr. Shashi Tharoor MP to our esteemed institution. A luminary in the realms of diplomacy, literature and politics, Dr. Tharoor's presence promises to elevate our intellectual discourse. Let us collectively engage in an enriching exchange of ideas as we embrace the privilege of hosting this erudite and multifaceted personality today.
Thank you so much for your presence, sir. We are really blessed and fortunate to have you here on this Nilgiris. I request the dignitaries to be seated.
செந்தமிழ்நாடெனும் போதினிலே இன்ப தென் வந்து பாயுது காதினிலே எங்கள்
தந்தையர் நாடென்ற பேச்சினிலே எங்கள் தந்தையர் நாடென்ற பேச்சினிலே ஒரு சக்தி பிறக்குது மூச்சினிலே எங்கள் செந்தமிழ் நாடெனும் போதினிலே
செந்தமிழ்நாடு எங்கள் செந்தமிழ்நாடு செந்தமிழ்நாடு எங்கள் செந்தமிழ்நாடு செந்தமிழ்நாடு எங்கள் செந்தமிழ்நாடு செந்தமிழ்நாடு எங்கள் செந்தமிழ்நாடு வேதம் நிறைந்த தமிழ்நாடு உயர் வீரம் செறிந்த தமிழ்நாடு
வேதம் நிறைந்த தமிழ்நாடு உயர் வீரம் செறிந்த தமிழ்நாடு
நல்ல காதல் புரியும் ஆரம்பயர் போல் இளம் கன்னியர் சூழ்ந்த தமிழ்நாடு செந்தமிழ்நாடு எங்கள் செந்தமிழ்நாடு செந்தமிழ்நாடு எங்கள் செந்தமிழ்நாடு செந்தமிழ்நாடு எங்கள் செந்தமிழ்நாடு செந்தமிழ்நாடு எங்கள் செந்தமிழ்நாடு
പാട്ടീണം മൈലാഞ്ചി പാട്ടിനഴകൊടു കൂട്ടുകൂടും നേരം നല്ലോണം നമ്മൾ കോണം തുടിതാളം മഴയുടെ മേളം നീണ്ടു നിൽക്കും നരമണതാളം പരിചകളുടെ വേഗൊഴി നേരം താളം നിലവിടും നേരം
Thank you, dear children. Thank you so much, dear students. Thank you. It was really elegant. Thank you so much for making this evening so colorful. Thank you once again. Now I take this pleasure It's my honor and pleasure to welcome our most respected dignitaries to the dais. May I request our most respected principal to come to the stage. So please. I welcome our Dean of Academics, Professor T. Mohan Babu sir, to the dais. I wholeheartedly welcome our MD and Secretary of Nilgiri College, Mr. Rashid Ghazali, to move to the dais. I request our Chairman of Nilgiri College, Mr. Alungal Mohammed sir, to move to the dais. And it's my great honor, pleasure, and it's a blessing and fortune to welcome our most respected distinguished guest, Dr. Shashi Tharoor MP. I wholeheartedly welcome sir to the dais. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together to welcome the distinguished, the honored guest of the day. In fact, it's a blessing for Nilgiri College and the people around Nilgiri to witness his honorable presence. Sir, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, sir.
I request you all to please rise for the prayer.
ദയാലുവായി ദാക്ഷിണ്യശാലിയായി വാഴുന്നോരീശ്വരൻ തിരുനാമത്തിൽ നിഖില ലോകങ്ങൾക്കുമേകരക്ഷകനാകും അഖിലേശ്വരനല്ലയോ സകല സ്തുതിയും പരമകാരുണ്യവാൻ കരുണാനിധിയേ വിധി പറയും ദിവസത്തിൻ നീകാധിപനേ നിയതമാരാധിപ്പൂ ഞങ്ങളങ്ങയെ മാത്രം സതതം സഹായമായി തീർപ്പതും തിരുമുമ്പിൽ നയിക്കണം ഞങ്ങളെ നേരായ മാർഗത്തിൽ നിന്നനുഗ്രഹപാത്രമായോർത്തൻ മാർഗത്തിൽ അങ്ങയാൽ കോപിക്കപ്പെട്ടോരുടെ വഴിയല്ല സന്മാർഗഭ്രഷ്ടർത്തൻ വഴിയിലുമല്ല.
நீராறும் கடலுடுத்த நிலமடந்தை கெழிலொழுகும் சீராறும் மதனமென திகழ்வரத கண்டமிதில் எக்கணமும் அதில் சிறந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு பிறை நுதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிழமை திறம் வியந்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே.
I request you all to be seated. It is a great pleasure and honor to host the renowned scholar, diplomat and member of parliament, Dr. Shashi Tharoor, in our institution, and to welcome this esteemed guest to this enlightening and enriching evening, I request our Dean of Academics, our dearest Professor Mohan Babu sir, who has more than 50 years of experience in the academic field. Sir, I wholeheartedly welcome you to deliver the welcome address. Sir, please.
Beloved and most respected chief guest of this Edu Summit, the pride of India and the son of Kerala, the most celebrated son of Kerala, respected Shashi Tharoor MP, sir. Alingil Mohammed sir, our beloved and respected dynamic managing director of the, Alingil Mohammed sir, our chairman of the board of trust, our beloved and respected dynamic managing director of the college, Rashid Sali sir, members of the trust, invited guests, PTA members, alumni of this college, and my brothers and sisters in the teaching and non-teaching staff in our esteemed institution. A very good afternoon to you all. For me and for the entire Nilgiri College family, this is a moment of great pride, pleasure, and ecstasy, which is going to be cherished forever in this infant institution, as we are fortunate enough to have the scholarly presence of a global citizen, eloquent speaker, brilliant diplomat, and a celebrated writer who has even contributed much to the English language in the post-colonial world. Dr. Tharoor, renowned for his eloquence and intellect, is recognized, admired, and appreciated for his eloquence and intellect all over the world, especially due to his international perspective. For the entire Nilgiri College community, this day is a red letter day when the great son of India has been kind enough and generous enough to visit our institution amidst the very busy schedule. For us, sir, this is actually a great opportunity which will be an inspiration and motivation, and with your scholarly insights, let the Nilgiri community fly high in the horizon of knowledge. Sir, on behalf of the entire college community, I extend a most hearty welcome to Dr. Shashi Tharoor, sir. For us, the chairman of the trust, Alungal Mohammed sir, has been always a source of inspiration and motivation for all of us here. It was this philanthropist who always loved the growth of this institution, and you are our friend, philosopher and guide, Sri Alungal Mohammed sir. Most hearty welcome to our family. The young dynamic MD and Secretary of Nilgiri College, the most wanted trainer, an educationist, the member of the Bharatiyar University of Syndicate, a perpetual motivator, and above all, the person behind every single success of this institution. He is the great leader who has initialized, dreamt and materialized all that we have in this campus. Sir, even the presence of Dr. Shashi Tharoor, sir, is made possible only due to your planning and incessant passion for things in which you are involved. Sir, with a lot of appreciation and for all those things that you have achieved for this college, on behalf of all college community, I wholeheartedly welcome you, sir, to this august assembly. As you always say, you have molded an academic community which is locally rooted and globally they are thinking. I also welcome our respected principal, sir, Dr. Sandikul Kumar sir, who is toiling hard to lead our ever-active campus and all the things that are going on in this campus. I also welcome our ever-active campus manager, Sir Umar sir. The last but not least, I welcome all our family members, staff members, PTA, students, and all those invited guests. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, sir, for that warm welcome. Mr. Alungal Muhammad, Chairman, Board of Trustees, Nilgiri College of Arts and Science, is a renowned entrepreneur. He hems the board of Al Abir Group and 24 News, and above all, he is a benevolent philanthropist. He is a continuous source of support and guidance for Nilgiri College in all our endeavors. Let's view a short video of his profile.
Dr. Alungal Muhammad is a popular philanthropist and a well-known entrepreneur in Middle East. Hailing from Kerala and toiling hard, he has established his signature in health and Medicare services. He assumed the chairmanship of Nilgiri College in 2018. He also serves as a chairman of 24 News and Al Abir Medical Group based in GCC. Sir, we wholeheartedly welcome you to the Nilgiri Edu Summit.
Sir, I'm honored to welcome you to deliver the chairman's address.
Nilgiri Edu Summit 2024-ന്റെ വിശിഷ്ട അതിഥി ഡോക്ടർ ശശി തരൂർ, ഇവിടെ സന്നിധരായിട്ടുള്ള ആദരണീയരായ രക്ഷിതാക്കളെ, ഈ കോളേജിൻ്റെ അധ്യാപകന്മാരെ, എൻ്റെ ഏറ്റവും പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട മക്കളെ, സഹപ്രവർത്തകരെ, ഇന്നത്തെ നമ്മുടെ ഗസ്റ്റിനെ കുറിച്ച് നിങ്ങൾക്കാർക്കും ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു തരേണ്ട ആവശ്യമില്ല. UN മുതൽ ഇന്ത്യൻ രാഷ്ട്രീയത്തിലും അതുപോലെ ഏറ്റവും നല്ലൊരു വായനക്കാരനും എഴുത്തുകാരനും കൂടിയാണ് അദ്ദേഹം. ഒരുപാട് പറയാനുണ്ട് അദ്ദേഹത്തെക്കുറിച്ച്. ഒരു പക്ഷേ എനിക്കറിയാത്തതിലപ്പുറം അദ്ദേഹത്തിനെ കുറിച്ച് പറയാനുണ്ട്. ഏതായാലും അത് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇവിടെ കേൾക്കാൻ കഴിയും. നിങ്ങൾക്കറിയാം, നമ്മുടെ നീലഗിരി കോളേജ് ഈ മാനേജ്മെൻറ്റ് ഏറ്റെടുത്ത ശേഷം വെറും 5 വർഷത്തിനുള്ളിൽ നമ്മൾ നേടിയ NAC A++, 4ൽ 3.59 സ്കോറോട് കൂടിയിട്ട് ഇന്ത്യയിൽ തന്നെ ആദ്യമാണ് ഇതെന്ന് വളരെ അഭിമാനത്തോടും സന്തോഷത്തോടും കൂടി ഞാൻ നിങ്ങളോട് ഒന്നും കൂടി പറയുകയാണ്. നമ്മൾക്കറിയാം ഇതിൻ്റെ പിന്നിൽ നിങ്ങൾ മാത്രമാണ്. നിങ്ങളും നിങ്ങളുടെ അധ്യാപകന്മാരും അതുപോലെ ഇതിൻ്റെ മാനേജ്മെൻറ്റും ചുരുങ്ങിയ സമയം കൊണ്ട് രാപ്പകലില്ലാതെ അധ്വാനിച്ച് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് കിട്ടിയതാണ്. നമ്മൾ അക്രഡിറ്റേഷൻ സർവേ കഴിഞ്ഞ് ഏകദേശം 3 മാസം കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടും റിസൾട്ട് പ്രസിദ്ധീകരിക്കാൻ അവർ താമസിക്കുകയായിരുന്നു. അവർക്കൊരു സംശയം, ഇതിലെന്തെങ്കിലും മാനിപ്പുലേഷൻ നടന്നിട്ടുണ്ടോ ഇല്ലയോ എന്ന്. വീണ്ടും വീണ്ടും റീകാൽക്കുലേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് റീസർവേ വരെ പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് ശേഷമാണ് അവരത് അനൗൺസ് ചെയ്തത്. അപ്പോൾ അത്രയും വലിയ ഒരു അച്ചീവ്മെൻ്റാണ് ഈ കോളേജ്, ഈ ചെറിയ ഗ്രാമത്തിൽ ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു കോളേജ് നേടിയെടുത്തതെന്ന് വളരെ വലിയ വലിയ കാര്യമാണ്. ഇവിടെ നമ്മുടെ ഉത്തരവാദിത്വം തുടങ്ങുകയാണ്. ഈ ഒരു ലെവലിൽ എത്തിയ നമ്മൾ ഇനി നമ്മുടെ യാത്ര എങ്ങോട്ടായിരിക്കണം? ഇതിൻ്റെ അടുത്ത ഇതിലും വലിയ എന്താണ് അതിലേക്കാണ്. തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും നമുക്കത് നേടിയെടുക്കാൻ കഴിഞ്ഞത് ഇവിടുത്തെ ഞാൻ മുമ്പ് പറഞ്ഞ എല്ലാവരും കൂടിയിട്ട് ഒരേ മനസ്സോടെ ഒരേ ഹൃദയത്തോടെ രാപ്പകലില്ലാതെ അധ്വാനിച്ച് ജാതിയോ മതമോ ഭാഷയോ വ്യത്യാസമില്ലാതെ ഒന്നിച്ച് അധ്വാനിച്ച് എടുത്തുണ്ടാക്കിയ ഒരു വിജയമായിരുന്നത്. ഈ വിജയം നമുക്ക് എന്നും നിലനിർത്തേണ്ടതുണ്ട്, ഇതിലൂടെ മുന്നോട്ട് പോകേണ്ടതുണ്ട്. അതിന് നമ്മൾ ഓരോരുത്തരും ഇനിയും അങ്ങോട്ട് കഠിനാധ്വാനം ചെയ്യേണ്ടതുണ്ട്. തീർച്ചയായും മാനേജ്മെൻറ്റ് നിങ്ങളുടെ കൂടെയുണ്ട്. അതുപോലെ എനിക്കറിയാം നമ്മുടെ അധ്യാപകന്മാർ, പ്രൊഫസർമാർ, അവർ ഇതിന് വളരെ ആത്മാർത്ഥമായിട്ട് ഇതിൻ്റെ കൂടെ എന്നും ഉണ്ടാവുമെന്ന് അവർ എനിക്ക് ഉറപ്പ് തന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. നിങ്ങൾക്കും അതേപോലെ ഉറപ്പ് തന്നിട്ടുണ്ടാവുമെന്ന് ഞാൻ വിശ്വസിക്കുന്നു. വേണ്ടത് നിങ്ങൾ കുട്ടികൾ, നിങ്ങളുടെ കയ്യിലാണ് ബാക്കിയുള്ള കാര്യം കിടക്കുന്നത്. ഇതിൻ്റെ 75% വിജയം നിങ്ങളുണ്ടാക്കിയതാണ്, നിങ്ങളുടെ കയ്യിലാണ് കിടക്കുന്നത്. ഇനിയും അതിനെ നിലനിർത്താനും നമ്മുടെ കാമ്പസ് ഒരു സെക്യൂരിറ്റി ഇല്ലാതെ സംരക്ഷണത്തിൻ്റെ ആവശ്യമില്ലാതെ സ്വയം സംരക്ഷിക്കുന്ന, നിങ്ങൾ സംരക്ഷിക്കുന്ന ഒരു ക്യാമ്പസായിട്ട് ഇന്ത്യയിലൊട്ടാകെ ഇതിൻ്റെ പേര് ഉയർത്തേണ്ടതുണ്ട്. ഇതിന് നമ്മൾ ഒന്നിച്ചു നിന്ന് പണിയെടുക്കേണ്ടതുണ്ട്. തീർച്ചയായും നിങ്ങൾ അതിന് ഞങ്ങളുടെ കൂടെ ഉണ്ടാവും എന്ന് ഞാൻ വിശ്വസിക്കുകയാണ്. അതുപോലെ ഇവിടെ എത്ര പാരൻസ് ഉണ്ടെന്ന് എനിക്കറിയില്ല. പാരൻസിനും അതിൽ പങ്കുണ്ട്. അവരും അതിൻ്റേതായ അവരുടെ പങ്കാളിത്തം കുട്ടികൾക്ക് നല്ലത് പറഞ്ഞു കൊടുക്കാനും, ഇന്നത്തെ കാലഘട്ടത്തിൽ സോഷ്യൽ മീഡിയ വളരെയധികം നമ്മളെ കടന്നു കയറിയ ഒരു സമയമാണ്. ഈ അവസരത്തിൽ നല്ലതിനാണ് നമ്മളത് ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങൾക്കതിൽ ഉയരങ്ങളിലേക്ക് എത്താൻ കഴിയും. അതുപോലെ മോശമായ രീതിയിലാണ് നമ്മളതിന് ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നതെങ്കിൽ നമ്മളെ നശിപ്പിക്കാനും ഈ സോഷ്യൽ മീഡിയയ്ക്ക് കഴിയും എന്നും കൂടെ ഞാൻ നിങ്ങളെ ഓർമ്മിപ്പിക്കുകയാണ്. കൂടുതൽ സമയം ഞാൻ എടുക്കുന്നില്ല. നിങ്ങൾക്കറിയാം ഞാൻ ഒരു സൗദി പ്രവാസിയാണ്. നിങ്ങൾ കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ടാവും, സൗദി അറേബ്യ ഇന്ന് ലോകത്തിൽ കുതിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന നാടാണ്. അവരുടെ വിഷൻ 2030, അതുപോലെ എക്സ്പോ 2030, ഫിഫ 2034, ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരുപാട് കാര്യങ്ങൾ. നമുക്ക് അത്തരം ലോകത്തിൽ പ്രഗത്ഭരായ ആളുകളെ തേടി നടക്കുന്ന ഒരു സമയമാണിപ്പോൾ. നമ്മളെ കുട്ടികൾക്കും അവിടേക്ക് എത്തിപ്പെടേണ്ടതുണ്ട്. അതിലേക്ക് നമ്മുടെ കുട്ടികളെ വളർത്തിയെടുക്കാനുള്ള ശ്രമമാണ് ഞങ്ങൾക്കുള്ളത്. ആത്മാർത്ഥമായിട്ട് നിങ്ങൾ അതിന് സഹകരിച്ച് ഞങ്ങളുടെ കൂടെ ഈ കോളേജിൻ്റെയും നിങ്ങളുടെയും വിജയത്തിന് വേണ്ടിയുള്ള എല്ലാ പ്രവർത്തനത്തിലും സഹകരിക്കണമെന്ന് ഞാൻ നിങ്ങളെ ഓർമ്മിപ്പിക്കുകയാണ്. ഈ പരിപാടി എല്ലാം നമ്മുടെ ചീഫ് ഗസ്റ്റിൻ്റെ പരിപാടിയാണ്. നിങ്ങൾക്കറിയാം, അദ്ദേഹത്തെ നിങ്ങളുമായി സംവദിക്കാനും നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ചോദ്യം ചോദിക്കാനും നിങ്ങൾക്ക് മറുപടി തരാനും അദ്ദേഹം ഒരുക്കമാണ്. നിങ്ങളുടെ ആ സമയം നന്നായിട്ട് വിനിയോഗിക്കണമെന്ന് കൂടെ ഞാനിവിടെ ഓർമ്മിപ്പിക്കുകയാണ്. എല്ലാവർക്കും നന്ദി, നമസ്കാരം.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Journey of Nilgiri College began in the year 2012 with just 65 students. Now, as you all know, Nilgiri College of Arts and Science have accomplished an undeniable presence in the higher education sector. The most recent laurel in the gallery of achievements of Nilgiri College is a NAC A++ accreditation with highest score in the country. This remarkable ascent to this glory is a result of dedication and hard work and wish of the visionary leader, Mr. Rashid Ghazali. Sir, we wholeheartedly welcome you for the opening remarks. Before that, let's have a...
Sorry, I'll save the time of 1 minute of video because we are running short of time. So thank you very much for the introduction. And because we are actually really happy in this afternoon. And we all are eager to listen our beloved guest. So it's not fair taking much of your time in the introductory elements as we are running already 10 minutes ahead. So I take this opportunity just to share the context why we are organizing this Nilgiri Edu Summit and why are we really eager to get the presence of Dr. Shashi Tharoor sir in the campus. And as you all are aware, this is the day we all were waiting for long. And I am sure this will be the day we will cherish for long. Because two reasons are there. One, it happens on an auspicious day with the grand memories of great Swami Vivekananda. Because this is the day which we remember the great life of Swami Vivekananda, and thus we celebrate the day as the National Youth Day. We are so fortunate to organize this program in this auspicious day. So that will be one of the best things which we can think today while attending this auspicious program. And secondly, the eminent presence of our beloved guest, Dr. Shashi Tharoor sir. Because we were trying for his presence for the last couple of years. And I remember I used to send at least 2 emails every year to invite him to Nilgiri College, either for the graduation program or for any other greater event we organized in the previous years. Unfortunately, we were not able to make it happen. Now, with the incessant support and help of our beloved chairman, dear Alungal Muhammad sir, and we were able to make his presence possible here. And I take this opportunity to thank both of them for their precious time and valuable presence in this program, because it makes us literally proud and happy to welcome Dr. Shashi Tharoor sir to this campus. My dear friends, when I was told to share some remarks, opening remarks on this Edu Summit, which we organized today, I was literally confused because sitting in front of such a legendary personality and sharing few words that too about the Edu Summit, which is not that easy job. So I was pondering on it, what to talk and how I will keep justice to it in front of such a personality. So then finally, last few nights I was actually disturbed. What will be the best thing which you share about the context and the philosophy which we believing in, because normally we never organize a program for the sake of a program. Every time we organize the program, we will have a philosophy behind, or we will have an idea behind. So the why we are organizing this program, then finally I got a conclusion. What else will be better than this? Sharing the incredible qualities which our beloved guest of the day, Dr. Shashi Tharoor ji is having. That will be the best thing which we can keep as a takeaway for this program. Then I have summarized it as 7 important qualities. More of the qualities which we used to discuss, and we usually discuss in the campus, and we keep it as our motto and value of this campus. But when we discuss about this personality, the guest of the day, I feel these 7 qualities would be the takeaway for this program, because I learned and I observed and I admired the qualities which I have seen personally by listening, observing, and a kind of imitating the way he is seeing the society in such kind of an admirable manner. I felt like some of the qualities which everybody can really focus on. The first thing which I felt, be thoughtful. He is always man of thoughts. His thoughts, insights, ideas, wonderful words, which is creating larger impact in every person he met, and every interactive events he used to travel and participate. What I feel, that kind of a thoughtfulness would definitely create larger impact in the society. We all are aware, thoughts will generate actions or transform to action, actions will definitely, together thoughts and actions will create transformation in the society. In that way, the thoughtfulness of Dr. Shashi Tharoorji, that will be the one of the noblest quality as an aspirant youth or a learner which we can admire. The second quality which I feel, it's nothing else, being happiest always. Have you ever seen his face dull, down, or a kind of a moody when he is interacting with the public, when he is going for a program, when he is attending a media for an interview? I never seen. Because that kind of an happiest face, spreading happiness wherever he go, and meeting the people with that kind of an happiness face, it is something really great. It's not that easy. We used to say in a famous quote, life will laughs at you when you are unhappy. Life will smiles at you when you are happy. Life will salute you when you make others happy. In that sense, every day, the life will be giving a grand salute to Tharoorji, because he is spreading this happiness everywhere with his happy face, spreading this value of happiness everywhere. We can proudly share this because we are sitting in a campus where happiness is the best practice. We have established Happiness Center in the year 2018, which was first of its kind in the whole country, and a higher educational institute is establishing this kind of an happiness center with multiple initiatives: Happiness Index, Happiness Center, Happiness Garden, Hapital, and Happiness Lens, and many more. And yet another celebrated even he is going to release and launch today, that is Happiness Festival, which we are going to celebrate this year. So that kind of an happiness mission which we already have taken, so creating that kind of an happy face and happiness mission, it's not really a simple thing. That's the second thing which we can learn from him. And thirdly, what I feel more admiring, that is his activeness. No matter what age it is, no matter what assignment he is owning, no matter how the life and mission is challenging, he is always active. And I was going through the itinerary when they shared the last 3 days, and I was feeling like he was traveling from one place to other, meeting different communities and interacting with thousands of people and impacting larger organizations and the people. It's not really a simple thing keeping this kind of an engaging mind, flying across the globe, impacting the minds and human minds in a larger perspective. That's the best quality which we always can see, because nowadays even the new generation is not really active. We are taking too much time for leisure and too much time for relaxation, but he, in this age, and he is spreading that kind of a message, being active all the time and spreading the value of activeness everywhere. And the fourth one, which I feel most importantly, when we examine or assume or observe the life of Shashi Tharoorji, what I feel, it's kind of an optimism he spread everywhere. I have watched almost hundreds of his speeches, interactions, interviews. I never see a kind of a negative statement or a hopeless statement which he put forth in any of the interview. Instead, he always share the positive statements, hopeful statements. As we always believe, a leader is always a dealer of hope. He is spreading that ray of hope and optimism everywhere. That's the another quality which I have personally felt, which everybody can keenly focus and try to practice in our life. The next one which I feel, it is outstanding nature. If he is in Oxford, he is outstanding scholar there. If he is in British Parliament, he is an outstanding orator there. If he is writing a book, he is creating an outstanding literary work there. While visiting our library, we were seeing his books, more than 25 books, which has been published already, and n number of articles that shows wherever he go and whatever he does, he is showing that kind of an outstanding nature. My dear friends, that's a great message for us and inspiration for us. Wherever you are leading in any of the domain which God has blessed us, try to become that kind of an outstanding nature. Try to nurture that kind of an extraordinary nature always in our mind. You would have seen that while serving the United Nations in different portfolios. Have you ever imagined, I don't know how many of you are aware of it, he has contested to be the Secretary General of UN. So it's not that easy, which can be dreamt by any of other Indian in the future course, I don't know. Because he has created that kind of a tremendous impact in the large minds of the greater country and the whole world across. And finally, the second last thing which I feel, with the happiness phase, with the activeness, with the thoughtfulness, and with the resourcefulness, because I don't want to explain the resourcefulness of Dr. Tharoorji, because whether it may be technology, whether it may be language, whether it may be international affairs, whether it may be politics, whether it may be literature, whether it may be sports, anything, he is well versed with that. And he is a master or an expert in those fields. So keep that kind of resourcefulness will generate larger followers. While I was sharing the flyer with my friends across the nation, I never received such kind of overwhelming responses from every well-wishers and the friends across the nation. They all were literally stating a message, wow, you got a wonderful opportunity to interact such kind of a legendary personality. So being resourceful and keeping that kind of optimistic mentality and stating that kind of an outstanding nature in every activity he does. Finally, the last but not least, what I feel Tharoorji is creating larger impact in every minds like us, that is creating a result-oriented approach. Result-oriented approach in the sense, he is always creating results. You fail, you win, doesn't matter. But through the process, you create result. That's what they're actually indicating the success of an individual. Wherever he goes and whatever he does, he is creating that kind of a signature by impactful result-oriented approach in the society. And we can proudly say, Nilgiri College is also stepping towards, as the chairman rightly mentioned, we are also trying all our steps by creating a result-oriented approach. Otherwise, were you able to imagine or were you able to visualize our college will be scaling these heights in such a short span of time, which happened only because of the sincere efforts or the team effort which we all were dedicating ourselves to create this larger impact. That's the result which we created through NAC by A++. That's the result 30 of our students have created with the university ranks. That the results many of your colleagues have taken through the placements they gained in Infosys, Wipro, TCS and HCL and many more international placements and so on. So these kind of achievements would definitely be giving an idea to create this kind of a result-oriented approach. While concluding my remarks, I would like to remind my dear friends and colleagues, especially to think about all these finest and noblest qualities. While thinking and reminding all these things, why can't we think the name of Tharoorji itself? Because that will give you every time a retaining spirit to remind and rewind yourself with these 7 noble qualities: thoughtfulness, happiest, activeness, and optimistic, and outstanding, finally result-oriented. For me, what Tharoor is, even if you take the first alphabets of all these 7 qualities, you can easily feel there, Dr. Tharoorji there, thoughtfulness, and H for happiest, and activeness, and O for optimism, then O for outstanding, then finally R for result-oriented. So what I feel, these are the 7 qualities which we can learn. This is the reason why we tried and pressured and create that kind of a pressure, even to the chairman, to get the eminent presence of beloved Shashi Tharoorji in the campus. And finally concluding, I request my dear students to make this use of this 1 hour of interaction with your Q&A, queries, discussions, deliberations. I'm pretty sure this will be a day which you will remember forever. And I assume you are interacting with the future president of the nation, where we will have another Kalamian era when the Tharoorji is becoming the president of nation. I pray for that. I wish for the same. Thanking you very much. And I wish all the very best for you for this wonderful day. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now it is an honor for me to introduce Dr. Shashi Tharoor. But after such an electrifying introduction by our MD, I don't know what is left to say about Dr. Tharoor. However, let us have a glimpse of this luminous profile onto the screen, please.
Dr. Shashi Tharoor, global citizen of India, was born in London in 1956 and was educated in India and the United States, completing a PhD in 1978 at the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy. Growing as an intensive bibliophile since childhood, Dr. Tharoor stretched his wings to multifaceted spectra as a prolific author, eloquent orator, international civil servant, and public intelligent. Currently a third-term Lok Sabha MP representing the Trivandrum constituency. He has previously served as Minister of State for Human Resource Development and Minister of State of External Affairs in the Government of India. During his nearly 3-decade-long prior career at the United Nations, he served as Under-Secretary General. He has also hit the news headlines and conquered social media with his unique sesquipedalian, like the viral head scratcher.
Fluxinosi nihilipinification.
Nilgiri family welcomes Dr. Shashi Tharoor to the lap of the Queen of Hills and to an institution which aspires to become a global trailblazer in higher education.
Dr. Tharoor is a multifaceted personality. As we all know, he needs no more introduction. He's a great renowned orator, a writer, and an amazing politician. And let me add a word of my own to describe Dr. Tharoor, sesquipedalian. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. A lover of long words. And ladies and gentlemen, and the most awaited moment is here that we have been eagerly waiting for. Join me in welcoming Dr. Tharoor to address us.
Good afternoon, everyone. Very good to be with you all. And I must say, your distinguished chairman, Mr. Alungul Muhammad, he's come all the way from his place in the Gulf. Your outstanding managing director, Mr. Rashid Ghazali, who just treated me to one of the most original introductions I've ever heard. And believe me, I hear a lot of introductions, so well done, Rashid. Professor Mohan Babu, Dr. Senthil Kumar, members of the faculty, leaders of the Panchayat, students above all, teachers, friends. I hope that covers everybody. As we say in Kerala, എല്ലാവർക്കും എൻ്റെ വിനീതമായ നമസ്കാരം. Today was my first experience of your campus. And I have to say that what little I've seen, what I've heard about it, and what I've read in the very useful material that was presented to me is hugely impressive. In fact, when I see the vision behind the founders of this college and the way in which they have thought about so many different aspects, from skill development to the emphasis on happiness, and at the same time, the extraordinary creativity we saw with the performances of the young dancers at the beginning, I have to say that this was hugely impressive, and to my mind, it does not surprise me at all that the NAAC immediately granted an A++ in their first effort right now. There's no room for improvement beyond that, except that maybe the way you're going, that 3.59 may become 3.99 within 10 years. Congratulations anyway. I must also say a word of appreciation for the students, because I learned that 30 students have won university ranks, and that many of you, hailing principally from 3 states, Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, have come to this lovely area, this beautiful campus. And not only do you study, but you have a great deal of activity where you have this huge sports field, you have a gym, and on top of that, you have the gardening that you all do, which I'm very impressed by. Because I ate lunch, and as a vegetarian, I was told that everything I was eating, almost everything, was grown here. So congratulations to all of you for that too. I must say that when I look at all of you and I wonder what could be the most useful ideas to talk about in an educational summit. After all, I'm here to talk to you about education, but you are living education, you're breathing education, you are gaining education. So let me start off with a piece of good news that is also bad news for those of you who are anxious to grow out of education. you never stop learning. So education is actually a lifetime activity. Do not expect that once you've got your degree and you leave the campus that you're free of the obligations of education. I'm very much older than all of you, and I can tell you I have not lived a day of my life where I have not learned something new. It could be a word, it could be a habit, it could be an attitude, it could be a piece of information, a factoid about another corner of the globe never heard about. But as long as your eyes are open and you're alert, it is impossible not to find things to learn. There's so much one discovers just in the process of being alive. And that's something which I believe is going to stand you in good stead throughout life. As long as you go into life with an open mind, as long as you say to yourselves, my mind is like a parachute. It works best when it's open. Just as you shouldn't jump off a plane with a closed parachute and keep it closed, so too you shouldn't go through life with a closed mind. Be open, be receptive to what the world is offering you. Receive, listen, and try and absorb what you can. To my mind, that is going to be something that will hold you in very, very good stead. Now, having said all of that, this question of happiness strikes me as a particularly innovative idea on your campus. How can you be happy? I'm glad that the college has made that a theme, and I think certainly it must be the first college in India to have made happiness an overarching theme of its work. But the idea that happiness matters has begun to take shape increasingly in a number of countries now. The government of New Zealand introduces a happiness budget every year, a budget that is aimed only at the happiness and welfare of the general population. The UAE in the Gulf has now appointed a minister for happiness, the idea being that the government has a responsibility to ensure that the people are happy. And before both of those countries, the original government that put happiness as a concept on the world map was the government of Bhutan. Bhutan said they were not particularly interested in competing with countries on the gross development product, GDP. Those of you studying economics already know what GDP is. It is the value of all the economic activity in a country across sectors, computed in terms of money, usually expressed in dollars, and the GDP of a country is the overall prosperity of that country in most people's eyes. And if you want to know the per capita income of a country, you take their total GDP and divide it by the population, and you get per capita income. Those are the numbers that you study in economics that everybody should know. Bhutan said no. Why do you count gross national product or gross domestic product only in terms of the value of economic activity? That means if you cut down a tree and you sell that tree to a furniture maker or the person who will pulp it and make it into paper, you are actually increasing your GDP. But Bhutan said, no, if you cut down that tree, you are reducing our happiness. You are taking away a beautiful tree that gives oxygen to the people. You are reducing our happiness. And I would rather value the measurement of having more trees than of chopping them down. It's a very clever idea. And they introduced the notion of gross national happiness rather than gross national product. I think this is an excellent theme that your college has latched onto here. If you can appreciate the quality of life that lies behind the idea of happiness, you are blessed with a clean environment. I spend a lot of my time unwillingly in Delhi because that's where our parliament is. And Delhi, when I was a student there in the early 70s, I can tell you that September to February were the best months of the year. It was very pleasant and clean and clear, and of course the air in those days was still breathable. Today, what used to be the best months of the year have become the worst months of the year because Delhi is the most polluted city in the entire world. in the entire planet. So you should appreciate that being here and breathing the air of the Nilgiris in this college and having the amount of open space and greenery and all your outdoor activities and gardening that you have, you are indeed, in the Bhutanese sense, increasing your happiness because you are thriving in a very pleasant environment. I mention this also because when I talked about GDP and per capita income, I want to say one more thing about per capita income not being necessarily a very good yardstick of people's happiness or people's welfare. If Mr. Ambani or Mr. Adani walked into this room right now, our per capita income would all go up because their wealth would be added to our cumulative wealth, and there would only be two people to add to the number that we're dividing it by. So our per capita income immediately goes up. But it doesn't make us any richer or happier because the moment they leave the room, our per capita income will go down again. So per capita income is not a very good yardstick of appreciating what people have. Certainly in terms of economic well-being, each individual needs a decent source of life, a decent income, a decent job, and the ability to dream of a better future for herself, himself, their families. And that's something which you can't really measure through a dollar sign or a rupee figure. It's also in terms of their happiness and their ability to fulfill their potential. So that's why I think we should now celebrate your college's focus on happiness as a truly innovative way of looking at how you have gained from your 3 years or 4 years of college. When you come out of here, if you feel that you've become a happier person, that you have learned the art of finding happiness in the daily activities of your life, that may be an even greater contribution of your education here than the university ranks and the gold medals that I rightly congratulated you for earlier, but which may not be the only thing that you should look forward to when you come out of this college. The other thing that I'm increasingly concerned about when it comes to education, since we're talking about the big themes of education today, is our school education. I think college education doesn't suffer so much from the same handicap, but in school education in our country, there is an excessive emphasis on rote learning, on memorizing everything in the textbook, everything the teacher dictates to you in the classroom, and then regurgitating it onto the examination paper in the exam hall. That is not education. That is purely memorization. And I'm not saying this out of any sour grapes, because I was actually very good at that at school. So I came first throughout school, college, university, everything, won all the student awards. But to my mind, I learned as much by reading books that were not in my syllabus, by talking to people and exchanging ideas with people who were not even necessarily in my class or my teachers, by learning through life the important art of how to relate to each other, how to relate to my classmates, to my seniors, to my teachers, to my juniors. All of this was a process of education as well. And that's why I would like you to take a broader view of what education is all about. Even those of you in technical and specifically scientific disciplines who are learning techniques that you hope will serve you in good stead, you are going to be graduating into a world in which the dizzying pace of technological change is moving so rapidly that a lot of what you've learned today may be out of date by tomorrow. There is a study by the Oxford Martin School just a couple of years ago which said that 30% of the jobs in the world in 2030, and all of you will be working by 2030, 30% of the jobs available in the world in 2030 will be jobs that do not exist today. Now, how can you study and prepare for a job that does not exist? The job is yet to be invented. There are bright people with original ideas who are going to invent these jobs, and those jobs are going to end up cutting and abolishing other jobs that already exist. So the future becomes both exciting and uncertain. It is uncertain because you may look forward to a particular kind of career and then discover that career has disappeared because technology has overtaken it. I'll give you a good example. Many of you are probably too young to know very much about this, but in the first decade of this century, there was a big sunrise industry, a big boom in our country in an activity, a profession called medical transcription. You know what that was? Imagine an American doctor sees his patients during the day. At the end of the day, he summons his secretary and dictates the notes about each patient he has seen. The secretary comes back in her own sweet time, in between answering the phone and doing other things. She types up these notes. He may get them a few days later, by which time he may have forgotten these specific patients because new patients have come since then. She may make typing mistakes because she's not terribly well educated. On top of that, the secretary needs leave and sick leave and annual leave and holidays and work hours and overtime. So it was a very cumbersome and not very efficient and always very expensive process. So the American doctor suddenly realized that thanks to the laying of lots of fiber optic cables in the 1990s, they could now instead dictate their notes into the computer, zing it across to India, where bright young students could type up the notes, and while the doctors were asleep, they would be typed up in India. The next morning, when the doctor came back to work, these notes would have arrived back by the computer. The young people in India who'd done the work would have sent this to them, and they would save an enormous amount of expense and time, and after a while, they would be out just the cost of paying a decent Indian salary once a month. They thought this was a good idea. Indian entrepreneurs thought this was a good idea. And in Tamil Nadu in particular, many companies were started to do medical transcription. What happened? For a few years, they were prospering. They hired lots of people. I think there were about 20,000 people in India who were just medical transcribers. More were being hired. These young people thought they'd got it made for life, easy job. They were taking car loans and home loans and all sorts of things, looking at a long future. And then, medical transcription was killed by one simple development: the invention of AI-supported voice recognition software. What happened? With voice recognition software, the doctor didn't even need to send anything to India, didn't need to pay a salary once a month to somebody sitting in India. All he needed to do was talk into his machine with one-time purchase of software, and he would see his own words appear on the screen in front of him. Not only that, but once he had seen those words, if the software, because it's AI enabled, made a mistake in one or two of the technical words he was using, the first or second time, then the third time the software would learn his accent or the meaning of the word and would type it up and correct it immediately afterwards. And so, medical transcription as a business completely collapsed. All these companies that had been established were no longer able to do so. And not only were these companies closing down, but at the end of the day, what happened was that the entire activity, where India at one point had a 95% monopoly on the world's medical transcription business, that disappeared. So I'm telling you this to say that we don't know what the potential of the new technologies is going to be. People setting up in business process offshoring companies, learning American accents and giving themselves fake American names to deal with customers in America, they might now be replaced by AI programs that can do the same work as them and sound just as human and just as natural, because their voices would actually be real American voices. That business could go down the tubes as well. We're going to constantly have to keep ahead. It may be better for us to train ourselves to write programs for artificial intelligence than to train ourselves to do jobs that artificial intelligence might take away. I was very pleased to hear that on your campus you have robotics, machine learning, all the kinds of modern activities today that are already supplanting jobs. In Japan now, there are many jobs that in India only human beings do, which now robots are doing. You check in at a hotel, you are greeted by a robot receptionist. You order a cup of tea at a restaurant, a robot waiter will come and deliver it to you. This is already happening today. It's not fantasy. It's not science fiction. So you can imagine how quickly these changes are. We, in the political space who make policies, we're going to have to think about how to respond to some of these changes. For example, you know about the invention of the driverless car. Cars now have been manufactured successfully that do not need a driver. That is, that these cars are essentially powered by a very sophisticated computer program supported by a large number of cameras that survey the road in front and the side and so on, and they can drive themselves from one point to another. You program your destination, sit back, and the driverless car will take you. There have already been some experiments in some cities in America to see how this would work. Of course, not all the experiments have been totally successful. One or two crashes have occurred when, for example, the software failed to recognize a white truck. A truck had been painted completely white on the side. It was going this way. The driverless car was coming this way. They couldn't see. The camera couldn't understand this was another vehicle, and the car crashed into the driverless truck. So there have been incidents like that. But for the most part, this innovation is considered successful and it's gradually spreading. When I visited Singapore recently, I had asked a friend of mine, I didn't even need to ask him, he told me, when he was giving me a ride, he said, this is probably the last car that I will drive. So I said, why? He said, Singapore is almost certainly going to go completely driverless within 5 years. That is, that the only cars legally sold and driven in Singapore are likely to be cars that do not require drivers. Because the city is well organized, all you do is do everything automated, and there will be absolutely no more risk of car accidents. Insurance premiums will come down, and people's lives will be much more convenient. So I said, my gosh, as a politician, do I want that coming to India? And the answer is probably no. Because there are 25 million Indians who have no other profession. 2.5 crore Indians who have no other profession but driving. They're driving lorries and trucks and bulldozers and of course cars, auto rickshaws. Where are they going to go if we bring driverless cars to India? So that may be an area which we will want to resist. But there'll be other kinds of innovations we can't resist. And this is the nature of change. Do you know, in your great-grandfather's time perhaps, all movies were silent movies. And what you would have in every theater was an orchestra pit in front of the screen where live musicians would play a soundtrack to accompany the silent movie. When sound came to movies, what happened? All these musicians went out of work. There were strikes saying this is unfair, these sound pictures are completely destroying our livelihood. But you couldn't uninvent the sound picture. And these people just had to look for new work if they could, or go and play in nightclubs or wherever else. That's all they could do. So that was the kind of transformation that change brought about at the beginning of the 20th century, in the 1930s in fact. And today, as we head into the 2030s, be prepared for equally far-reaching changes. And the way to be prepared is not by memorization and rote learning. It is, as I often tell teachers, don't teach the young people what to think, teach them how to think. By which I mean, it is not the facts and figures and dates and formulae you memorize. Those in the real world today you can actually look up on your laptop computer, or indeed look on your mobile phone and find out. 2 clicks of a mouse on a desktop, or indeed just going on your mobile phone will give you all the dates and facts and figures you've forgotten. I used to be proud of the fact that thanks to my education, I could quote lines of Shakespeare and other famous writers and poets from English literature. Without being a Christian, I can quote you passages from the Bible, but But if somebody doesn't know that, all they have to do is Google it and they'll get the same quotation 1 minute after I would. So what's the difference? What's the difference is, how will they react when something completely unfamiliar comes their way? When a challenge that is not something they've known, when a fact they've not heard before is presented to them, will they have the ability and the confidence to approach it, to deal with that fact, and to figure out how best to solve the problems raised by those facts? That's what I mean by saying how to think. You don't need a well-filled mind in the era of Google. You need a well-formed mind. And a well-formed mind is one that's prepared to deal with the unfamiliar and to find pathways to it and find your own success. So I urge you all, also as our wonderful Mr. Ghazali said, to be resourceful. Think of different things. I would urge the teachers, don't spend the whole time teaching. Encourage the students to talk. Get them to take an issue you've taught them and debate about it, discuss it. Perhaps take 2 different children every day, 2 different students every day, get them to talk. Force them to think for themselves. Give them an unfamiliar problem, see how they react, and then guide them as to how they could have reacted afterwards. These are the skills that will be useful in real life. Bill Gates and Steve Jobs often talked about wanting to hire people who could do out-of-the-box thinking. The box is a word for conventional wisdom. That is what everyone has always done. Right? Out of the box is unconventional thinking. We are always taught that we should ask the teacher why to understand something. We should also learn to ask the question, why not? Remember that school is where you learn to answer the questions. College is where you should be questioning the answers. Because when you get into the real world, there will be more such questions coming up. So think out of the box. I couldn't help noticing that my 2 companions on this side both wear glasses, and their glasses rest on their nose and hang over their ears, which I found very inconvenient and very uncomfortable, so I never used to want to wear my glasses. I only need glasses for a distance. I can recognize all of you in the front, but I can't really see very clearly the people at the back. But if I needed to do that, right now, I'm wearing an example of out-of-the-box thinking. And what's that? It's this. It hangs around my neck. I don't lose it somewhere. I don't drop it and break it. I don't have any issues as I used to have with my old glasses that I never wore. Instead, all I have to do is forget they're there until I need them. And when I need them, they click into place with 2 magnets in the middle, and I can see you all at the back. It's a simple example of out-of-the-box thinking. For 150 years, glasses have always been made this way. Glasses have always been made, 2 lenses connected together, resting on the bridge of your nose, hanging over your ears. 150 years, no one thought that for those who don't like that, don't find it comfortable, don't like the way they look, whatever it may be, can we do something different? Finally, just a few years ago, somebody did come up with something different, and that's why I'm happy to wear it. So all of you should be the ones coming up with the next innovation that no one has thought about, simply because everyone has been thinking that everything that they see around them has always been one way and will always be that way. Nothing will always be anything. The world changes, you will have to change. I was very impressed to hear that your campus has ICT-enabled interactive classrooms already. Many colleges don't have that. So you're already seeing an adaptability to change on this campus. I'm hoping and praying there will be more such innovations coming, and that some of you will be responsible for those innovations. With those words, I want to thank this wonderful Nilgiri College of Arts and Sciences for having invited me to address you all today. I'm told that I'm supposed to answer a couple of questions as well. We're running a little behind the clock, so I'm going to try and do so within the time available. But I thank you all very much for giving me such a patient hearing, and I wish you great success in your education. Thank you. Nandi Namaskaram. Jai
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for making this evening so productive. Right person to address us, and it was really food for thought to our faculty members and to the student fraternity. So thank you so much, sir. Now our students are eagerly waiting for an opportunity to interact with you, sir. With your permission, shall we open this session for an interaction, sir, if you please?
And is there a mic for the audience as well, so they can ask questions? Okay, great. So whoever's standing at the mic, go ahead. Tell me who you are, what you're studying, or teaching, or whatever. Let me know. And I'll respond.
Good evening, sir. I am Ahalya Nair, and I'm a student of psychology. We are very much honored and delighted to have an interaction with a global personality like you, who has inspired and influenced various young minds. India is very rich in resources, and most of us Indians adhere to the concept of Aditi Devo Bhava. While most of us have seen this trend, like we are exporting all high quality products and keeping the low quality products for our own use. This is also seen in human capital. Many competent and educated people are leaving the country, and the number of foreigners coming here for better prospects are comparatively less. We have been and are still in the developing phase. What actually is the problem we are facing right now? What is hindering with the development of our nation?
You know, I think that's changing. You're right, there's been a fair amount of that. And there are very many reasons these things happened. In the initial stages, a lot of students went abroad to study because they felt they would get a better quality of educational opportunity than they could in India. And that is partially still the case because we don't have any Indian university ranked anywhere in the top 100 of any of the world rankings of universities yet. And that's disappointing, but we'll get there one day. But the point is that because that isn't there, many bright students believe that they would do well if they were to go to an Oxford or a Cambridge or a Harvard or a Stanford rather than stay on here. And once they go, very often they tend to stay on, either get jobs there or get married there or whatever, and they don't return. And that can be a genuine loss for India. However, though we used to complain about the brain drain like that, some of that brain drain became a brain gain because these same bright people, having gone abroad, chose to give back to our society. For example, a lot of those who founded companies in Silicon Valley, they have now come in and invested in startups in Bangalore and Gurgaon and other places in India. So it is possible to do that. I myself have been encouraging a number of our people of Indian origin working in the high-tech industry to try and establish their own operations in Thiruvananthapuram, my constituency, and some of them are coming and doing that. So it becomes a brain gain as well after some time, but I agree with you, it's not a happy situation. Kerala, for example, is a particularly unfortunate state because a lot of our bright young people, as soon as they graduate, they leave for other states or other countries. And I asked a young person, why are you doing this? And his answer was, sir, what is there for me in Kerala? Isn't Kerala now just an old age home? And that kind of shook me a bit because obviously, well, I'm getting to the age where an old age home may not be a bad idea. It's not going to be a good place for young people to live and grow. And I definitely want that to change. So my own thinking is that we need, and this is the second aspect, we need to provide more opportunities for bright young people to find jobs and meaningful activities in their home states and in our country so they don't choose to leave. And that means there has to be a much more liberated approach to the economy. We have too many restrictions, too many permissions, too much bureaucracy, too much of regulatory processing, and that means that again people think it's too much of a pain to do anything here. For example, it takes 3 days on average to start a business in the United States or in Singapore. 3 days. In India as a whole, it takes an average of 114 days. In Kerala, it takes 236 days. Now that's ridiculous. There is no need for that. I was asked to inaugurate a brand new hospital in my constituency, or rather an extra building there. They said the hospital took us a year and a half to build. The permissions to start using the place as a hospital took us 4 years. Now that is terrible, and I want to seriously advocate that we slash 90% of the rules and regulations and procedures that are impeding effective economic activity in our state. And that applies to many other parts of our country as well. I would say a third factor that you may be mentioning is that you may be thinking about is the quality of the future-oriented activities that are available here. There is a feeling, for example, I learned in Silicon Valley that 40% of the researchers working on artificial intelligence in California are of Indian origin. There are more people born in India working on AI in California than are working on AI here. Why? Because they feel they have the kind of ecosystem where they can do that, where they can interact with each other, gain from the world's best talents, and come up with outcomes. Now, I want that in my country also. And one of the things we need to do is to try and attract some of our NRIs back to India by giving them generous opportunities, pay packages, an unbureaucratic approach to education, and encouraging them to train more Indians here. One or two areas has already happened. For example, when I was minister, I discovered that there are only 2 astrophysics programs in the whole world that are studying certain phenomena of plasma in the air. Now, don't ask me, I'm not a scientist. One is in Houston, with a gigantic telescope, and one is in IIT Indore. And the professor leading the project that is studying this astrophysics project with this telescope is somebody who had tenure in one of the best American universities. I think it was the Georgia Institute of Technology, and he came back to IIT Indore to do this in his own country. And I met the team leader of the young team of postdoctoral researchers he had around him. The first one introduced me to was a boy called, I believe it was Muhammad Mohsin, who was from a village, a very humble family in a village right near the city of Indore, who was such a brilliant student that he got scholarships from every one of the top institutes of technology in America, including MIT, Caltech, Georgia Tech, all of them. And he turned them all down to work with this Indian professor on this India-based project in a city not far from his village. So there is still hope. These are very, very few examples, but there is still hope for people to do the best quality work in India. I'm hoping that an institution like yours that's forward-looking will try and give you that opportunity. There's no point doing what has already been discarded 10, 20 years ago somewhere else. We need to be on the cutting edge. You know, otherwise there is this tendency of thinking in the old days, not even old days, 15 years ago, the attitude was if any kind of high-tech work required a lot of labor, we can send that to India, they'll get lots of software engineers to sit and write the programs. But effectively in the high-tech world, that was coolie labor. Today, Indians are saying we can do better than that. We don't need to do all that. In any case, they need to do better than that because AI programs have been invented that can routinely write all the software and logarithms themselves. So an AI program can do the work that the low-end high-tech company employee in India used to be doing 10 years ago. So we have to upgrade our own skills and contribute at a higher level of sophistication. Again, that is happening in some areas. I was told that the wings of the Boeing aircraft now are designed in India. I was told that NVIDIA that makes these remarkable chips, that most, over 80% of those who are writing the very sophisticated software for those chips are based in India, places like Bangalore. So there are things like this happening in the world, but it's only a beginning. These are what they call the green shoots of hope. We should be able to develop from this and be able to have a much broader system of excellence. So we have 3 things: high quality universities, good job opportunities with less bureaucracy, and more high quality futuristic activities available in India. Then I think you won't need to ask this question again. We're heading in that direction, but not fast enough for my taste.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir. This is Jennifer from MA English, second MA English.
Okay.
And sir, you have coined number of words. And from one of your interviews, I have seen that the word defensate, the literal meaning of the word is like to throw out of the window, but it is meant to reject or to expel. So, on that interview, you yourself have wondered that the word has been not being used widely. So, what is the reason, sir, that you are thinking?
No, obviously, because it's, why do people use words, right? They use words because they like the sound of them, but also because they want to communicate. So, most of us in our normal conversations will use words that the people listening to us can understand. I hope that in my speech, there were very few or no words that you couldn't understand. That they were all words that, frankly, most people who know the English language will appreciate, and therefore we can communicate with each other. Now, one of the joys of language to me has been the pleasure of coming up with words that are legitimate words in the English language, but that are relatively less frequently used, but could be more frequently used. What a lovely word defenestrate is, because all of us every day are encountering situations where ideas are defenestrated, people are defenestrated from their jobs or positions, teams are defenestrated from a tournament. Why not use it? It could be a fun word. But I agree, many people say, why? We can just say they lost or they got thrown out or they were fired, or simple things like that. But rather than just using the simple language, finding a creative and amusing way of saying something also offers a certain kind of pleasure. So I hope you'll use it, young lady, and I hope no one defenestrates you from, from anything you're doing here. Take care, Jennifer.
Good afternoon, sir.
പറയൂ.
Good afternoon, sir. എൻ്റെ പേര് അശ്വിൻ. ഞാൻ BCom ഫൈനൽ ഇയർ സ്റ്റുഡൻ്റ് ആണ്.
അതെയോ?
അപ്പോൾ എൻ്റെ ചോദ്യം ഇതാണ്, അതായത് UN അസംബ്ലിയിലെ അതായത് ഇപ്പോൾ വേൾഡിലോട്ട് നോക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ജിയോ പൊളിറ്റിക്സ് നമ്മൾ എടുത്തു നോക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ കോൺഫ്ലിക്റ്റ് നടക്കുന്ന ഒരു സമയമാണ് ഇപ്പോൾ. അതായത് റഷ്യ യുക്രൈൻ വാർ ആയിക്കോട്ടെ, ഇസ്രായേൽ പലസ്തീൻ വാർ ആയിക്കോട്ടെ. അപ്പോൾ ഇതിലെല്ലാം തന്നെ ആൾക്കാർ ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ കേട്ടുവരുന്ന ഒരു പേരാണ് UNSC. അപ്പോൾ UNSCയിൽ മറ്റ് പല രാജ്യങ്ങൾ, അതായത് ടോപ്പ് 5 രാജ്യങ്ങൾക്കും പെർമനൻറ്റ് മെമ്പർഷിപ്പ് ഉണ്ട്, അതായത് വീറ്റോ. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ രാജ്യത്തിനെതിരെ എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു തീരുമാനം വരികയാണെങ്കിൽ നമുക്കും വീറ്റോ പവർ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നമുക്കത് സിമ്പിളായിട്ട് തന്നെ അത് നിരാകരിക്കാനാണ്. പക്ഷെ നമുക്കത് ഇല്ലാത്തത് കൊണ്ട് തന്നെ നമുക്കത് പറ്റുന്നില്ല. മുൻപ് പലപ്പോഴും നമുക്കത് വന്നപ്പോൾ റഷ്യയാണ് സഹായിച്ചത്. അപ്പോൾ ഇപ്പോൾ ഇന്ത്യയുടെ ഒരു പൊസിഷൻ എടുത്തു നോക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ വേൾഡിലെ വൺ ഓഫ് ദ ലീഡിങ് എക്കണോമി തന്നെ ആയിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന ഒരു കൺട്രിയാണ് ഇന്ത്യ. അപ്പോൾ ഇനിയും UNSCയിൽ നമുക്കൊരു വീറ്റോ പവർ, ഒരു പെർമനൻറ്റ് സീറ്റ് തന്നില്ലെങ്കിൽ അത് UNSCൻ്റെ ക്രെഡിബിലിറ്റീനെ ബാധിക്കുമോ എന്നാണ് എൻ്റെ ചോദ്യം.
നല്ല ചോദ്യമാണ്. ഒരു സംശയമില്ല താങ്കൾ പറയുന്നത് അശ്വിൻ, ഇത് യാഥാർത്ഥ്യം തന്നെയാണ്. ഞാൻ ഇതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് എഴുതിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. എൻ്റെ പുസ്തകം പാക്സ് ഇന്ത്യ വായിച്ചാൽ താങ്കൾക്കൊരു ഫുൾ ചാപ്റ്റർ കാണും ഈ വിഷയത്തെക്കുറിച്ച്. പക്ഷേ ചുരുങ്ങിയ വാക്കിൽ പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ യുണൈറ്റഡ് നേഷൻസ് ചാർട്ടറിനെ അനുസരിച്ചിട്ടാണ് ഈ 5 രാജ്യങ്ങളുടെ പേര് വെച്ചിട്ട് അവരെ പെർമനൻറ്റ് മെമ്പേഴ്സ് ആക്കിയത്. അതിൻ്റെ കാരണം എന്തായിരുന്നു? ഈ 2ാം മഹായുദ്ധം, സെക്കൻഡ് വേൾഡ് വാർ കഴിഞ്ഞ ശേഷം അവർ ലോകത്തിൽ സമാധാനം കൊണ്ടുവരുമ്പോൾ ഒരു സ്ഥാപനത്തിന് അവർ ഇവിടെ ഉണ്ടാക്കുമ്പോൾ ലോകത്തിൽ അവർ വിചാരിച്ചു ഏത് രാജ്യങ്ങളുടെ അസാന്നിധ്യത്തോടെ ഈ സ്ഥാപനം നടക്കില്ലേ. കാരണം ആദ്യത്തെ മഹായുദ്ധം, ഫസ്റ്റ് വേൾഡ് വാർ കഴിഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ ഇതേപോലെ ലീഗ് ഓഫ് നേഷൻസ് സ്ഥാപിച്ചു. പക്ഷെ അതിൽ ചില രാജ്യങ്ങൾ പങ്കെടുത്തില്ല. അമേരിക്ക ഒരിക്കലും പങ്കെടുത്തില്ല, അതിൽ മെമ്പർ ആയില്ല. റഷ്യയെ ഒരു കാലത്ത് എക്സ്പെൽ ചെയ്തു, കാരണം അവർ ഫിൻലൻഡ് രാജ്യത്തിനെ ആക്രമണിച്ചു. ഇറ്റലി എക്സ്പെൽ ചെയ്തു, കാരണം അവർ അബിസിനിയെ ആക്രമണിച്ചു. അപ്പോൾ അതുകൊണ്ട് ഈ യുദ്ധം വന്നപ്പോൾ, ഈ സെക്കൻഡ് മഹായുദ്ധം വന്നപ്പോൾ എല്ലാവരും പറഞ്ഞു ലീഗ് ഓഫ് നേഷൻസ് എവിടെ? ലീഗ് ഓഫ് നേഷൻസ് ഒന്നും ചെയ്യാൻ സാധിക്കില്ല, കാരണം അവർക്ക് ഈ രാജ്യങ്ങൾക്ക് സ്വാധീനിക്കാനുള്ള മാർഗമില്ല. ഈ രാജ്യങ്ങൾ ഈ ലീഗ് ഓഫ് നേഷൻസ് അംഗം കൂടിയല്ല. അപ്പോൾ ഈ പുതിയ യുണൈറ്റഡ് നേഷൻസ് സ്ഥാപിക്കുന്നവർ പറഞ്ഞു, അഥവാ നമുക്ക് പഴയ്ക്കണം എന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് എന്താ ആവശ്യം? റഷ്യക്കാരും അമേരിക്കക്കാരും രണ്ടാരും ഇതിൽ പങ്കെടുക്കണം. അവർ പങ്കെടുക്കുമോ? അവർക്കൊരു അഷുറൻസ് കൊടുക്കണ്ടേ, ഒരു ഗ്യാരണ്ടി കൊടുക്കണ്ടേ? ശരി, അവർക്ക് ഇഷ്ടമില്ലാത്തത് ഒരിക്കലും സംഭവിക്കില്ല, കാരണം അവർക്കൊരു വീറ്റോ പവർ ഉണ്ടാവും. അങ്ങനെ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടാണ് ഈ 2 രാജ്യങ്ങളും, ആ കാലത്ത് വലിയ സാമ്രാജ്യമുണ്ടായിരുന്ന ബ്രിട്ടനും ഫ്രാൻസും, പിന്നെ അവസാനത്തിൽ ഒരു നോൺ വൈറ്റ് രാജ്യത്തെ തിരഞ്ഞെടുത്തത് ചൈന ആയിരുന്നു. അവർ വലുപ്പം കണ്ടിട്ട് ഈ 5 രാജ്യങ്ങൾക്ക് വീറ്റോ കൊടുത്തത്. അതിൽ ആ കാലത്ത് 1945 നമ്മൾ അപ്പോഴും ഒരു ബ്രിട്ടീഷ് കോളനി ആയിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ ഇന്ത്യക്ക് കൊടുക്കാനൊരു ചിന്ത ആ സമയത്ത് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നില്ല. താങ്കൾ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ നമ്മളുടെ എതിരെ ചില ചർച്ചകൾ വന്നപ്പോൾ റഷ്യയാണ് അവർ വീറ്റോ ഉപയോഗിച്ച് നമ്മളെ സഹായിച്ചത്. ഈ കാലത്ത് ഇങ്ങനെ വന്നാൽ ഒരു പക്ഷേ അമേരിക്ക അവർ ഈ വീറ്റോ ഉപയോഗിച്ച് നമ്മളെ സഹായിക്കും എന്നാണ് പലരും പറയുന്നത്. അങ്ങനെ ചില മാറ്റങ്ങൾ വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. പക്ഷേ നമുക്കൊരു വീറ്റോ വീൽഡിങ് സ്ഥാനം കിട്ടാൻ ആ UN ചാർട്ടറിനെ അമെൻഡ് ചെയ്യണം. പക്ഷെ ആ അമെൻമെൻറ്റിൻ്റെ പ്രോസസ്സ് ഭയങ്കര കോംപ്ലിക്കേറ്റഡ് ആണ്. ആദ്യം നമ്മൾക്ക് 2/3 മെജോറിറ്റി വേണം ജനറൽ അസംബ്ലിയിൽ. അതിൻ്റെ അർത്ഥം 193 രാജ്യങ്ങൾക്ക് 128 രാജ്യം വോട്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ട് ഒരു ഫോർമുല അംഗീകരിക്കണം. എന്തായിരിക്കും ഈ ഫോർമുല? ഇപ്പോൾ ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ ആഫ്രിക്കൻ രാജ്യങ്ങൾ പറയുന്നു ഇന്ത്യക്ക് കൊടുക്കണമെങ്കിൽ ഞങ്ങൾക്കും വേണം, ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് 2 പെർമനൻറ്റ് സീറ്റ് വേണം. ഞങ്ങൾ 54 രാജ്യങ്ങളാണ്, പക്ഷെ ഒരു ആഫ്രിക്കൻ രാജ്യത്തിനും പെർമനൻറ്റ് മെമ്പർഷിപ്പ് ഇല്ല, അപ്പം ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് തരണം പറയുന്നു. മറ്റേവർ പറയുന്നു കൂടുതൽ മെമ്പർഷിപ്പ് വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഞങ്ങൾക്കൊന്നും ചെയ്യാൻ സാധിക്കില്ല, ഈ സെക്യൂരിറ്റി കൗൺസിൽ പ്രവർത്തിക്കില്ല. അപ്പോൾ ഈ തർക്കത്തിൽ ഒരു റിഫോമും നടക്കാൻ സാധിച്ചിട്ടില്ല. 1992 ആ കാലത്തെ സെക്രട്ടറി ജനറൽ ആയിരുന്നു ബൂട്രോസ് ഘാലി. അദ്ദേഹം പറഞ്ഞു നമ്മുടെ 50ാമത്തെ വാർഷിക ആകുമ്പോഴേക്കും സെക്യൂരിറ്റി കൗൺസിലിനെ റിഫോം ചെയ്യണമെന്ന് അദ്ദേഹം പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ആ 50ാമത്തെ വാർഷിക പേര് 95. 1995 വന്നു പോയി, ഒന്നും നടന്നില്ല. അത് കഴിഞ്ഞ് 60ാമത്തെ വാർഷിക പോയി, 70ാമത്തെ വാർഷിക പോയി. 2 വർഷം മുമ്പ് 75ാമത്തെ വാർഷികമായിരുന്നു. പക്ഷേ എന്നിട്ടും നമുക്ക് ഒരു UN സെക്യൂരിറ്റി കൗൺസിൽ റിഫോം ഇല്ല. ആരെങ്കിലും ഒരു സ്ഥാനം വേണമെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അതിന് തർക്കിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി അവർ നിൽക്കുന്നുണ്ടാവും. അപ്പോൾ ഇന്ത്യക്ക് അഥവാ ഒരു പെർമനന്റ് മെമ്പർഷിപ്പ് കൊടുക്കണമെങ്കിൽ പാകിസ്ഥാൻ എതിരിക്കാൻ നിൽക്കുന്നുണ്ട്, ചൈന എതിരിക്കാൻ നിൽക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. നാളെ ജർമ്മനിക്ക് ഒരു സ്ഥലം വേണമെങ്കിൽ ഇറ്റലി എതിരിക്കാൻ നിൽക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. ജപ്പാന് വേണമെങ്കിൽ ചൈനയ്ക്ക് നല്ല സംശയമുണ്ട്, കൊറിയയ്ക്ക് നല്ല സംശയമുണ്ട്. അവസാനത്തിൽ എല്ലാവർക്കും ശത്രുക്കളുടെ കാര്യം ആർക്കും ഒരു ഫോർമുല അക്സെപ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള സാധ്യത ഇതുവരെ ഉണ്ടായിട്ടില്ല. അപ്പോൾ 30 വർഷമായിട്ട് ഈ ശ്രമം നടന്നുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്, പക്ഷേ ഒരു അഗ്രിമെൻ്റ് ഇല്ല. അതുകൊണ്ട് താങ്കളുടെ ചോദ്യം നല്ലത് എന്താണ്? അഥവാ ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു ഫോർമുല വരാതെ എല്ലാവരും അഗ്രി ചെയ്യാതെ നമ്മൾക്കൊരു റിഫോം ഇല്ലെങ്കിൽ നാളെ വിചാരിക്കും നമ്മളുടെ ഒരു അയൽവാസി രാജ്യത്തിനെ നമ്മുടെ അഭിപ്രായം എടുക്കാതെ സെക്യൂരിറ്റി കൗൺസിൽ അവരെതിരൊരു ആക്ഷൻ എടുത്തു, ഒരു സാങ്ഷൻ ചെയ്തു, ഇറാഖിനെ സാങ്ഷൻ ചെയ്തു, നാളെ ബംഗ്ലാദേശിനെ സാങ്ഷൻ ചെയ്തു പറഞ്ഞാൽ അത് ഇന്ത്യ അംഗീകരിക്കുമോ? എനിക്ക് നല്ല സംശയമുണ്ട്. നമ്മുടെ ഒരു തൊട്ടടുത്തൊരു രാജ്യത്തിന് ഈ ദൂരത്തിരിക്കുന്ന രാജ്യങ്ങൾ വന്നിട്ട് അവരൊപ്പം ട്രേഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ പാടില്ല, ആൾക്കാരെ വരാൻ സമ്മതിക്കില്ല എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇന്ത്യ ചോദിക്കാൻ തുടങ്ങും, നിങ്ങൾ ആരാണ് ഞങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഡിക്റ്റേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ? ഞങ്ങൾ ഇഷ്ടപ്രകാരം ചെയ്യും. അതോടെ ആ ഡിസിഷൻ സ്റ്റിക്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ സാധിച്ചു, ആ ഡിസിഷൻ നടപ്പിലാക്കാൻ സാധിച്ചിട്ടില്ലെങ്കിൽ സെക്യൂരിറ്റി കൗൺസിലിൻ്റെ ക്രെഡിബിലിറ്റി മാറും. അതുകൊണ്ട് ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് പറയണത് ഈ കാലത്തിൽ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട രാജ്യങ്ങളുടെ എണ്ണം 5 അല്ല, ഒരു 10 12 പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട രാജ്യങ്ങൾ ഈ ലോകത്തിലുണ്ട്. ഒരു ഐക്യരാഷ്ട്രസഭയെ ശരിക്കും നടത്താൻ വേണ്ടി ആ രാജ്യങ്ങൾ എല്ലാവർക്കും നിങ്ങൾ കൗൺസിലിൽ ഒരു സ്ഥാനം കൊടുക്കണം. ഇത് പണ്ട് കാലം പോലെ ഒരു ലോകമല്ല. ആ വിശ്വാസത്തിലാണ് നമ്മൾ ഇപ്പോഴും ശ്രമിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നത്. അതിൽ നമ്മൾക്ക് പിന്തുണ കിട്ടുന്നുണ്ട് ചില രാജ്യങ്ങൾ, അമേരിക്ക, ബ്രിട്ടൻ, ഫ്രാൻസ് ഒക്കെ പിന്തുണ തരുന്നുണ്ട് ഇന്ത്യക്ക്. ചൈനയും ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല. റഷ്യ ഒരുമാതിരി പിന്തുണ തരാതിരിക്കേണ്ട എല്ലാം രണ്ടും നടക്കുന്ന കാര്യം. അപ്പോൾ ഈ കാര്യത്തിൽ ഇന്നോ നാളെ ഇത് വരാൻ പോകുന്നില്ല എന്ന് എനിക്കറിയാം. പക്ഷേ ഇൻ ദ മീൻ ടൈം ആ സെക്യൂരിറ്റി കൗൺസിലിൻ്റെ ക്രെഡിബിലിറ്റി താണു പോകുന്നതും സത്യം തന്നെയാണ്. എന്തായാലും താങ്കൾ പറഞ്ഞ 2 യുദ്ധത്തിലും സെക്യൂരിറ്റി കൗൺസിൽ ഒന്നും ചെയ്യാൻ സാധിച്ചിട്ടില്ല. കാരണം 2 എണ്ണത്തിലും വീറ്റോ വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. യുക്രൈൻ യുദ്ധത്തിൽ റഷ്യ വീറ്റോ ചെയ്തു, ഗാസ യുദ്ധത്തിൽ അമേരിക്ക വീറ്റോ ചെയ്തു. അപ്പോൾ സെക്യൂരിറ്റി കൗൺസിൽ രണ്ട് യുദ്ധത്തിലും ഒരു ആക്ഷനും എടുത്തിട്ടില്ല. അതും ഒരു നഷ്ടമല്ലേ? അതാണ് ചോദ്യം.
Thank you, sir. Dear students, I know many of you are waiting with many of your questions, but we are running short of time, so if you permit, we'll have one final question.
Okay, one final question. ആരായിരിക്കും?
Good afternoon, sir. I am Muhammad Shahid from MA English. Sir, എൻ്റെ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ എന്തെന്നാൽ, സാർ ഒരുപാട് റെപ്യൂട്ടഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ക്യാമ്പസുകളിലും യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റികളിലൊക്കെ വിദ്യാർത്ഥികളായിട്ട് ഇൻട്രാക്ട് ചെയ്തൊരു വ്യക്തിയാണ്. നമ്മുടെ ഈ നീലഗിരി കോളേജിലേക്ക് സാർ വരുമ്പോൾ സാറ് ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ ഇംപ്രസ്ഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു കാര്യം അതെന്തായിരിക്കും? മറ്റേ ക്യാമ്പസുകളിൽ നിന്ന് വ്യത്യസ്തമായി സാറിന് ഇഷ്ടപ്പെട്ട കാര്യം എന്തായിരിക്കും?
താങ്ക് യു. അതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് ഒരു സംശയമില്ല. നിങ്ങളുടെ ചോദ്യത്തിന് മറുപടി പറയാൻ മോസ്റ്റ് ഇംപ്രസീവ് തിങ് എന്താണ്? നമ്മളുടെ മഹിളാ വിദ്യാർത്ഥികൾ. അതിന് പറയാൻ കാരണമുണ്ട്. ഞാനൊരു 10-75 കോൺവൊക്കേഷനിലൊക്കെ പങ്കെടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഞാൻ ഈ 10-15 വർഷക്കാലം നമ്മൾക്ക് പല കോളേജിൽ പോയി കുട്ടികളെ കാണാനും അവർ സംസാരിക്കാനും അവരുടെ ഭാവിയെക്കുറിച്ച് അന്വേഷിക്കാനും അവരുടെ എല്ലാ വിധത്തിലും അവരുടെ അക്കോംപ്ലിഷ്മെൻറ്റ്സ് കാണാൻ, അത് എല്ലാ വിധത്തിലും യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റീസ് ഞാൻ പോയിട്ടുണ്ട്. അവിടെ ഞാൻ കണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നത് എന്താണ്, എവിടെ പോയാലും എന്തായാലും ചിലപ്പോൾ ഒരു യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റിയിൽ 20% വിദ്യാർത്ഥികൾ മാത്രമേ മഹിളകളായിരിക്കുള്ളൂ. പക്ഷേ ഗോൾഡ് മെഡൽ കിട്ടുന്നതും ഓണേഴ്സ് കിട്ടുന്നതും ഫസ്റ്റ് റാങ്ക് കിട്ടുന്നതും ഒരു 90% പെൺകുട്ടികൾ തന്നെയാണ്. അത് ഭാരതത്തിൻ്റെ ഭാവിക്ക് വേണ്ടി നല്ലൊരു കാര്യമാണെന്ന് മാത്രമല്ല, നമ്മുടെ രാജ്യത്തിൻ്റെ ഭാവി ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മളുടെ മഹിളകളുടെ കയ്യിലാണെന്നൊരു തെളിവാണ്. ഞാൻ പുരുഷന്മാരോട് പറയുന്നു, യു ബെറ്റർ പുൾ യുവർ സോക്സ് അപ്പ്. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അത്ര എളുപ്പമല്ല ഈ ലോകത്തിൽ. കാരണം increasingly with technology, there is nothing that you boys can do that a woman cannot do just as well or better. And if they're working harder, they're going to get ahead of you in everything. On top of that, there are some things women can do that no man can do either. So all the advantage that men had in an unequal world came from brawn and muscle and the history of dominance. In a world in which brawn and muscle matter less and less, and girls are seizing the opportunities far better than boys, the future is female. That is my main finding. അതാണ് പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ചൂണ്ടിക്കാണിക്കാനുള്ളത്. നിങ്ങൾ എല്ലാവരുടെയും എല്ലാ മേഖലയിലും നന്നായി ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടെന്ന് പെൺകുട്ടികളോട് പറയുന്നു. But don't rest on your laurels either. And boys, make an extra effort if you want to hold your own face, because as you become my age, you may find yourself in a world ruled by women. അതാണ് നമ്മുടെ ഭാവി. Thank you all and been a great audience. Nandi.
Thank you, sir. We are even more excited with your last remark and highly motivated with your words. Thank you so much, sir. And the presence of Dr. Shashi Tharoor in our college, it is a great moment for us. And I request our Chairman of Nilgiri College, Mr. Alungal Mohammed, sir, to present a memento to Dr. Tharoor, sir. This is a token of our gratitude. Thank you so much, sir. May I request the dignitaries to join. I request our most respected MD to honor Dr. Shashi Tharoor with a shawl. Sir, please.
Moving on, the NAC accreditation of our institution with the A++ grade with the highest score of 3.59 in the first cycle of accreditation is a laudable and unparalleled achievement for a young institution like ours. Being located in a rural agricultural village, the challenges on our journey were many and varied. The united and dedicated efforts of different stakeholders culminated in this amazing achievement. And to commemorate this amazing achievement, we are blessed to have an extraordinary personality with us today. I request our distinguished guest to unveil the NAC A++ certificate. I wholeheartedly welcome Mr. Alungal Mohammed, Chairman, MD Secretary, Mr. Rashid Ghazali, Dean Professor T. Mohan Babu, Principal Dr. G. Senthil Kumar to join our guest in unveiling the A++ certificate.
Thank you, sir. That's a proud moment for us. This is a place where we are really officially unveiling our NAC accreditation certificate. Thank you, sir. Nilgiri College of Arts and Science is always to depart in activities and endeavors. Several innovative initiatives by the college has led the college to be selected as one among the top innovative campuses by Higher Education Review. Nilgiri Happiness Festival is on one such initiative. This week-long festival of happiness will witness various programs including National Level College Fest, International Conference, Job Fair, Education Expo, Food Festival, Snehaswaram, and even where inmates of old age destitute centers are brought together. Now I humbly request Dr. Shashi Tharoor sir officially launch the magnificent Nilgiri Happiness Festival along with our chairman Mr. Alungal Mohammed sir, our MD Professor Mohan Babu sir and Dr. G. Sendil Kumar sir. Nilgiri College is full waiting for this event. Thank you sir, thank you so much.
What an amazing way to announce our Happiness Festival. As this auspicious evening comes to a close, to express our gratitude, I invite our principal, Dr. G. Senthil Kumar, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good evening all. Most respected Chief Guest Dr. Shashi Tharoor MP, Global Citizen, International Diplomat, our beloved Chairman Mr. Alungal Mohammed, Board of Trustees of Nilgiri College, respected MD and Secretary of Nilgiri College of Arts and Science, Mr. Rashid Ghazali, beloved Dean Academics, Mohan Babu sir, PTA members, alumni members, our well-wishers, students and my dear staff. It gives me immense pleasure and gratitude and heartfelt appreciation as we conclude this very special event. On this auspicious occasion, it is indeed a great pleasure for me to propose the vote of thanks on behalf of Nilgiri College of Arts and Science. At the outset, on behalf of NCAS family, I extend my profound gratitude to Dr. Shashi Tharoor, MP, our distinguished chief guest, for graciously accepting this invitation from this humble institution despite its towering stature and demanding schedule. This is a dream come true for all of us. Dr. Tharoor's willingness to share his wisdom and insights with our students is a testament to his indomitable commitment to the education and the intellectual growth of future generation. We are truly honored with your presence, sir. Many thanks for you, sir. I take this opportunity to specially acknowledge and express our gratitude to the chairman of Nilgiri College of Arts and Science, Mr. Alungal Mohammed, who is well known as an entrepreneur and a philanthropist. He is always a source of support and guidance for our college. We are very happy to have your presence today, sir, on this special event. Thank you very much, sir. Our profound appreciation goes to our beloved Managing Director and Secretary, Mr. Rashid Ghazali, who relentlessly dedication and hard work is the cornerstone of the growth and development of this wonderful institution. It is with his meticulous efforts and extensive coordination that we are able to host our most elite guest of today, esteemed Dr. Shashi Tharoor, MP. On this occasion, I extend the warmest gratitude to Rashid Ghazali, sir, for his efforts and for making this amazing event happen. Thank you very much, sir. The academic dean of our college, Professor Mohan Babu, sir, is a guide and a mentor for all of us. All of us have reaped the benefits of his vast experience and wisdom. It's my pleasure to thank him during this occasion. Thank you very much, sir. I take this opportunity to thank the PTA members and PTA Association, Alumni Association, and our well-wishers, our neighborhood, and the press people of both print and visual media who have gathered here for this great event. Thank you very much. I would also like to thank all the family members of Nilgiri College, the teaching, non-teaching members, and my student friends for gracing this occasion and making this occasion as a great successful. As our chief guest said, let's all open our mind and we'll learn a lot of things to make this world a wonderful place to stay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir. I request you all to rise for the national anthem.
Place to stay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir. I request you all to rise for the national anthem.
Place to stay. Thank you very much.
अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Students, you might leave now. I request all the faculty members to come forward to the dais. Dear students, you may leave. Thank you so much. Have a great day. I request all the teachers to come forward.